there, I am Faye. The scumbag just finished saying, "Let's see how you manage without me." And the next thing you know, he runs into the female lead during a lake cruise with a drop-dead gorgeous guy by her side. The scumbag loses his mind. Without further ado, let's dive right into this drama. Chiyu's white moonlight has come back. He saddled his horse overnight, preparing to chase after her to Qingzhou to intercept her. On this trip, I must settle the wedding date with her first. Rain was pouring down as he informed me before leaving. I was so anxious I could barely speak, hastily handing him the letter I'd been clutching for so long. But he impatiently swatted my hand away, gripping the reins tight, his gaze urgently fixed beyond the curtain of rain. "Don't worry, as long as you behave, I'll come back to keep you company once I am done. Ali is so bold and lively, you should learn from her. Can you stop clinging to me all the time?" The horse's hooves kicked up, splattering mud all over me, and trampled the letter I handed him deep into the mud. "But Chiyu, are you really in such a hurry? You won't even calm down to let me finish what I have to say. Turns out the childhood engagement my family arranged for me years ago was never with you at all. It was in my 3rd year, living at the Chi estate, that I learned Chiyu had a white moonlight carved into his heart. Her name is Mo Li. Her personality is the complete opposite of mine. She doesn't like being restrained, cheerful, and loves to laugh. She loves traveling everywhere, north and south, making friends. Every time she came back, she would vividly tell Chiyu about the interesting things along the way. At these times, Chiyu would show a doting look I had never seen before, softly begging her to stay a few more days. But Molly was the wind, and the Chi residents couldn't keep her. She'd stay no more than 3 months, always leaving without saying goodbye, quietly waiting for the next whimsical meeting. This time it was. Qingzhou Chiyu received a letter from his friend and immediately rushed after her without stopping. A late spring cold snap, thunder and rain, the chill piercing to the bone. "Sister Shu, the young master really left." Xiao-chan struggled to hold up the umbrella, urging anxiously. "Aren't you going to check on him? The rain is so heavy. If the young master catches a cold, If he catches a cold, he'll probably stay in Qingzhou even longer, giving them more time alone together. But even if I went, what could I do? The footsteps of lovers can't be stopped by any rain, snow, wind, or frost. Just like the day I first met Molly, it was the same. Back then there was a big problem with the Jiangnan shop, but Chiyu actually left it unattended and rushed back home overnight through heavy snow. He even said I should take this good opportunity to gain more experience, and not always be confined to the inner residence. The warm pavilion was crowded with people. Molly sat in the center talking and laughing cheerfully, like the sun of the entire room. Seeing me shivering behind Shiya, she enthusiastically pulled me over to warm up by the fire. But when getting close, she used her sleeve to hide and whispered in my ear with a soft laugh. "So you are that stupid girl they mentioned who can't even speak properly. Looking at you, nothing special after all. Do you really think you can compare to me? I can't. I knew it the moment I saw her. She is an eagle soaring in the sky. I am a sparrow hoping under the eaves." A world of difference. The rain gradually subsided. I lowered my eyes, crouched down, and carefully picked up that letter soaked in muddy water, with blurred writing, clutched in my palm, ice cold. "Chiyu is not Chiyu," I murmured softly, as if asking Xiao-chan, and also as if asking myself. "Xiao-chan, what should I do if I mistook someone for another?" Back in my room, I changed out of the wet clothes. Looking around, there didn't seem to be much to pack. When I was first brought back by Kiyu, I had nothing but myself. At that time, I had just experienced a family tragedy, both parents dead, a great fire burning everything. I was homeless, wandering the streets, when Chiyu helped me drive away the street thugs who were causing trouble. He even extended his hand to me and asked, "It is not safe for a young girl to be out alone. Would you like to come back with me?" The servant's call of young Master Chi woke me from my dream, and I hurriedly asked his name, then took out the jade pendant to confirm the arranged marriage. He raised his eyebrows thoughtfully. "It seems there is such a thing. I thought it was him. At first, he treated me very well, would patiently listen to me stammer through my words when I was anxious, and comfort me, would take me to the Lantern Festival and watch fireworks, would speak up for me when the servants in the household secretly mocked me, would also smile and accept when I secretly embroidered many handkerchiefs and sachets, clumsily expressing my gratitude to him, and pat my head, praised me for being skillful and clever, saying I was the best woman he'd ever met. I was filled with joy, and never questioned it. I thought I'd found hope in a hopeless situation, that I'd met a good man in this life. But later, how did it all change? He took me to a poetry gathering. I was nervous and flustered, couldn't form proper sentences, drawing snickers from everyone present. He lost face, and his expression was cold on the way back. From now on, you'd better not come to such occasions. When he was drinking with friends, one teased, "Brother Chi, that Miss Shu in your household seems beautiful and well-behaved, but her speech, how will she ever be presentable in refined company?" He sneered in agreement, "Just a pitiful creature, she is only passable as a maid to look at." After Mo Li appeared, he could no longer see me. "Shu Ning, if only you could be half as cheerful as Elise. Shu Ning, stop always acting so affected and clingy. Shu Ning, can't you learn from Mo Li? I don't understand, if he already had someone he fancied all along, why did he bring me back to the household? Fortunately, I've secretly saved up some silver over these years. Not much, but enough for me to get away for a while." Xiao Chan cried and stopped me. "Young master is just confused for the moment. Maybe when Miss Mo comes back this time, young master will only marry her as an equal wife. Sister Shu, you are the legitimate wife." The butler also wiped his tears and persuaded, "That is right, Miss Shu. After all, you two had a marriage agreement first. Young master won't abandon you." I shook my head. We have no marriage contract. Perhaps there once was one, but I've never seen it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have mistaken me for someone else. Thinking of that token, I spread out the letter paper and picked up the brush. 1,000 thoughts tangled, not knowing where to begin. Living in the Chi residence for so many years for nothing. In the end, it is all just like a joke. After entrusting the butler to send out the letter, I sat quietly by the window, watching the fallen flowers scattered all over the courtyard, beaten down by wind and rain. My thoughts gradually drifted far away. Chiyu's reply came faster than I imagined. In just 2 days, a small box was delivered to my courtyard. The butler's eyes showed delight, his voice urgent. "Miss Shu, young master specifically designated this to be delivered to you. Quick, open it and see." Xiao Chan's eyes lit up. "It must be that young master knows you are leaving and regrets it. Sister Shu, hurry and look." Looking at that exquisitely carved wooden box, I pinched my slightly damp palms and finally opened it. Inside, there were only a few cold instructions and a jade pendant carved with a phoenix spreading its wings. "Ali's return date is set. The household needs to prepare for the engagement. Since you are familiar with her preferences, please put in more effort. Don't be willful, return to the residence soon." I still remember the letters he wrote to me before. Every line was filled with his longing for me while away, wanting to bring me a share of every good thing he saw. But now, clutching that childhood betrothal token, it clearly felt warm and smooth to the touch, as if carrying tender affection. Yet I felt an inexplicable chill throughout my body. From start to finish, it seemed like my wishful thinking, my one-sided affection. Outside the window, the fallen flowers had been swept clean, revealing the bare ground. "I am afraid I'll have to trouble you with these matters." I calmly tossed the letter to the butler. "And what about you, Mime?" I should have gone home long ago. Chiyu hosted a banquet at his villa in Qingzhou, with close friends chatting and laughing merrily. A few days ago, he personally shot down a pair of wild geese, and the news spread quickly. Naturally, someone teased him during the feast. "Brother Chi, your intentions are as obvious as Sima Zhao's." "Exactly, our Ali hasn't even nodded yet, and you are already this anxious? If this really works out, you'd probably give away the entire Chi household, wouldn't you?" Chiyu only smiled without speaking, his gaze falling on Mo Li beside him in her bright, fiery red riding outfit, full of doting affection. "She is my woman, you lot better stop eyeing her." Mo Li smiled with pursed lips and shot him a playful glare. "Who said I'd marry you? You are the one who wanted to shoot the geese. I never agreed to it." In tacit understanding, everyone burst into laughter. Suddenly someone brought up, "What about that girl in your Suzhou household? I heard you two have been betrothed for a long time. You can't possibly make her a concubine, right? How would she ever agree to that? Chiyu raised an eyebrow, his tone light and indifferent. Taking her in was merely out of consideration for our past connection. Forget concubine, even as a personal maid, she'd probably be more than eager. After all, Shuning had always been docile, her dewy eyes constantly gazing at him, her heart and mind full of only him. When he said he'd marry Mo Li, she showed no objection. She even reminded him to remember to write letters. Honestly, it was annoying. He often needed to go out to handle business matters. Once or twice was fine, but too much. Wouldn't Mo Li find it off-putting if she saw? That was her one flaw. She never considered things from his perspective. Just as they were joking around, an attendant bowed and presented a letter. Chiyu glanced at it. The handwriting was familiar, several pages filled densely, and immediately lost his patience. Just tell me directly, what does she want now? The attendant replied in a low voice. Miss Shu says. She requests that you return the betrothal token from back then. Also, Steward Wu sent word saying that Miss Shu is making a fuss about leaving. The table fell silent for a moment. Chiyu, however, chuckled softly and casually untied the jade pendant from his waist, tossing it onto the table. Take this to her. She has actually learned to throw tantrums. You really won't go back and coax her? Mo Li tried to stop him, worry showing on her face. Sister Shu has such a gentle nature. If she goes out alone and something happens, she is just poorly imitating others. Chiyu was unconcerned. She won't make it out that door. With no relatives or friends, she had long since lost her home. Where else could she go? It was merely that he'd told her to learn more from Mo Li, and she'd actually taken it seriously. Well then, he'd find her more things to do later. She'd surely be happy about that. I split half the silver with Xiao Chan. She cried and refused to take it, wanting to leave with me. I wiped away her tears and declined with a smile. With an uncertain road ahead, staying here would at least guarantee her food and shelter. I rented a horse cart. First, I returned to what I remembered as home. Wild grass grew thick, walls lay in ruins. It seemed to speak of that tragic disaster from years ago. My parents' faces and voices were still before my eyes, which is why it took me this long to dare return here again. I stood before the ruins for a long time, following the vague address in the letter. I went to the neighboring county to find an Aunt Liu. She and my mother had been close friends, and we'd only reconnected in the past year. When Aunt Liu saw me, both surprised and delighted, she grasped my hands and looked me up and down, her eyes suddenly reddening. Good child, you are becoming more and more like your mother. Your letters always said everything was fine, but why do you look so much thinner? She paused, her tone becoming more careful. That young Master Chi, does he treat you well? I happened to see him once years ago, and I always felt he wasn't the right man for you. With bitterness surging in my heart, I gently shook my head while holding back my emotions. Now, there is no connection anymore. I told her in detail about my experiences over these years, skipping over those unbearable details. After listening, Aunt Liu sighed for a long while, gently patting my hand. You've really suffered. Since that is the case, stay here with your aunt first. No matter how big the matter, your aunt will back you up. She pondered for a moment, then said, since you've already let go of the Chi family regarding that childhood betrothal, your aunt will first help you inquire about the character and appearance of the Wen family's young master. If he is no good, we'll find another suitable gentleman. We must choose the best one to match you. She spoke so warmly that I felt embarrassed to refuse. Aunt Liu, but I want to return to my hometown and do some small business to support myself. Previously at the Chi Manor, relying on the embroidery skills my mother taught me, embroidering handkerchiefs and making some netting, I secretly saved up some money. Though it was hard, it was still better than living under someone else's roof and watching their expressions. I've had enough of those days of depending on others' whims. But before I go back, I want to settle one matter first. I took out that phoenix jade pendant. I must first return this token to its true owner. Aunt Liu saw my determined gaze and didn't press further. You child. Ah, very well, I'll make the arrangements. As for the Wen family, that child Qiyu happens to be in Wuzhou on business right now. The meeting was set for 3 days later, at an elegant tea house. The moment I saw Wen Qiyu, I realized how ridiculously wrong I'd been. He wore a blue-green robe, standing in the pavilion over the water, his demeanor refined and gentle like ancient jade shining bright. Those eyes and features vaguely overlapped with the young boy in my memory. Qiyu was not Qiyu. Who would have thought that as a child, because of the sound of New Year's Eve fireworks, I misheard one character and made such a fool of myself? Wen Qiyu was very patient, a gentle smile playing at the corners of his lips, quietly listening as I explained the purpose of my visit. When I got nervous, my speech became stuttered. Instinctively wanting to reach for paper and brush, he smiled faintly. No need for the trouble. I know some sign language and can understand. I took out the jade pendant and pushed it toward him. I am sorry for taking so long to return this to you. I didn't mean to. With what happened to my family, I shouldn't have kept this. I hoped it wouldn't cause him any trouble. I am the one who should apologize. Wen Qiyu looked at the jade pendant but didn't take it immediately. Instead, he lowered his lashes, full of regret, and said, "When your family had their troubles, I was away with my father handling an urgent confidential matter and couldn't make it back in time. Later I searched everywhere, but never got any news of you. In my heart, I've always felt guilty." I hurriedly shook my head, gesturing with my hands. Life is unpredictable. It is not your fault. Even if he had found me back then, the outcome might not have been different. Wen Qiyu fell silent for a moment, then looked up at me. He pushed the jade pendant back, his gaze clear and sincere. "Miss Shunning, if you don't blame me, would you allow me some time to spend together? If by then you still feel Qiyu is unworthy of your trust, it won't be too late to return it. Is that all right?" The jade pendant was never returned in the end. Wen Qiyu's gentle persistence made it hard for me to refuse. But I felt he was just going through the motions. Someone unlike him, as soon as word got out, countless well-matched young ladies would come one after another. When Mother Wen learned I had returned to Wuzhou, she specially invited me to the residence for a gathering. Speaking of her girlhood friendship with my mother, her eyes similarly reddened, sighing endlessly. "If your mother were still here and saw how well you've turned out, she would be so gratified." Then she looked at Wen Qiyu with playful reproach. "Since you found her, treat her well. Don't drag it out, lest this fine girl get snatched away by someone else." Hearing this, Wen Qiyu glanced at me with a smile in his eyes. He replied, "Your son understands." I was praised until my cheeks grew hot and hurriedly lowered my head. Wen Qiyu was thoughtful and considerate, always able to accommodate my nervousness and difficulties. In private, he spoke to me gently. "Don't be afraid. My mother is just anxious. Everything will be according to your wishes. I will never force you." For the next half-month, he made arrangements calmly, boating on the lake, sipping tea, and listening to music. He was thoughtful and attentive, yet maintained just the right distance. Being with him was a rare sense of relaxation I hadn't felt in years. On this day, we ran into a few of his friends while boating on the lake. When they saw me, they all froze for a moment, then started teasing him. "Well, Wen Qiyu, hiding a beauty in a golden house. So she is the sweetheart from your painting. Indeed, she is as beautiful as a celestial being with an extraordinary air. No wonder we couldn't find you these days. Turns out you've been meeting with a beauty. Miss, listen to me. Don't agree to him so easily. You've got to make this guy work for it." I instinctively looked toward Wen Qiyu. He has a sweetheart. But I saw Wen Qiyu's ears turn slightly red as he coughed lightly. "Don't talk nonsense." That person laughed even harder. "How am I talking nonsense? That portrait hidden in your study. If it is not this young lady, then who is it? Don't tell me there is someone else." Their good-natured teasing made my face flush red, and I lowered my head, at a loss. A bowl of warm soup was pushed in front of me. "They're used to joking around, but they're actually really good people. Don't be afraid, and don't feel awkward." My heart felt a little warm, and also a bit dazed. Once upon a time when Chiyu's friends saw me, most couldn't hide their disdain or pity. He would never help me out of a tough spot either, only complain that I made him lose face. Comparing the two, they're worlds apart. It is just my heart inexplicably feels a bit bitter. So Wen Qiyu already has someone in his heart too. Then why does he treat me so well? Is it only because of the marriage arrangement? Then why does he go out with me so often lately? Isn't he afraid his true love will misunderstand? Just as I was lost in these chaotic thoughts, a commotion suddenly came from the neighboring pleasure boat. Shu Ning, what are you doing here? And socializing with these outside men traveling together? What kind of propriety is this? His cold and harsh voice carried undisguised shock and anger. Get over here right now? My body stiffened. Without needing to turn around, I knew it was Chiyu. Really enemies on a narrow road. When Chiyu's brows furrowed slightly, just as he was about to stand up, I instinctively pressed my hand gently on the back of his, whispering, "Young Master Wen, I'll handle this myself. I don't want to drag him into the mess between Chiyu and me." I turned around and looked at Chiyu and Moli standing side by side at the bow of the neighboring boat. Chiyu's expression was displeased, while Moli nestled at his side, wearing her usual shallow smile of someone who loves to watch drama unfold. "Little sister Shu, what a coincidence." Moli spoke first, curiously looking left and right. "Didn't you leave the manor to return home? How come you are here? And traveling with all these young masters? If word of this gets out, I am afraid your reputation will be." She stopped talking, making Chiyu's expression even more unsightly. With a gloomy face, he said in a sarcastic tone, "She probably heard I was here and chased all the way after me. On the road, she was picked up by someone again and followed along without a care in the world." As he spoke, he actually cupped his hands towards my direction, his tone perfunctory. "Many thanks to you all for looking after my old flame. Shu Ning, hurry up and come over. Don't disturb their refined enjoyment." I was trembling with anger, wanting to open my mouth to explain, but the more anxious I became, the less I could say a single word. In my desperation, I instinctively gestured with my hands. "I didn't come looking for you, I came to." "Enough!" Chiyu shouted to interrupt me, his eyes full of irritation. "Isn't this embarrassing enough? Come back with me and we'll talk about it." He stepped forward, wanting to jump over, and I couldn't help but shrink back a few steps from his yelling. When Chiyu, who had been silent all along, finally stood up, slowly walking to stand in front of me, blocking Chiyu's oppressive gaze. His expression remained gentle, but his voice carried an undeniable calm. "Young Master Chi, you seem to have misunderstood something. It was I who invited Miss Shu to cruise the lake. So where does embarrassing come into it?" Furthermore, his gaze swept over Mo Li, and he smiled faintly. "Speaking of traveling with friends, young Master Chi seems to have no standing to criticize others either." The moment Mo Li saw Wen Chiyu, her expression changed imperceptibly. Immediately tugged at Chiyu's sleeve and said with a stiff smile, "Chiyu, we must have misunderstood. Sister Shu might be here in Wuzhou to relax, perhaps. Let's not disturb sister's mood. Let's go." Chiyu frowned, his gaze wandering between me and Wen Chiyu, and finally snorted coldly, leaving behind a sentence. "Shu Ning, you deal with these irrelevant people yourself. Come find me at the inn later." After saying that, he was half pushed, half dragged away by Mo Li. "Oh my God, I've been screaming this whole time. Is this the head-on clash between a top-tier green tea-white moonlight and a top-tier green flag male lead?" Chiyu and Mo Li were on the side being passive-aggressive and spouting nonsense, but our Lord Wen directly stood up, and with one line, "What do you mean disgraceful?" domineeringly protected his wife. A man who is emotionally stable, gentle and refined, yet can strike back directly. He is simply the ceiling of high-quality males. Seeing Chiyu's deflated look, "It is so stress-relieving, scumbag, please immediately get out, out, out." After this commotion, I lost all interest. When Chiyu escorted me back to Aunt Liu's house, silent all the way. Even at the doorway, he never asked about Chiyu, probably afraid of touching on my painful memories. My mood was gloomy, and I didn't want to bring up that disgraceful past with him either. Perhaps I'll talk about it if there is a chance in the future. Silently shutting myself in my room, I stared blankly at the flickering candlelight. Chiyu's attitude was like a thorn piercing my heart, not because of lingering feelings, but because of that undisguised contempt and trampling. How ridiculous, I'd been numbing myself all along. This wasn't the first time he treated me this way, but it was the first time that made me feel so humiliated, so resentful. The moonlight was like water, night curtain hanging low. Outside the window, at some point, the clear sound of a flute gradually drifted in. The melody was melodious and peaceful, instantly dispelling the restlessness and gloom rising in my heart. I curiously pushed open the window, surprised to discover it was actually Wen Qiyu. He sat leaning against the high wall at the side of the courtyard, one leg bent, blowing the long flute in a leisurely posture. Moonlight scattered down, as if coating him with a layer of clear radiance, completely different from his refined elegance in daylight, adding a bit of unrestrained spirit. Seeing me poke my head out, he stopped playing and smiled over at me. "Did I disturb you?" I shook my head and gestured. "It sounds beautiful, very pleasant to the ear." Wen Qiyu gracefully descended, his figure light and agile, clearly showing considerable skill. "I noticed you were in low spirits during the day, and remembered there is a scenic tower nearby. The view is excellent, perhaps it could lift your spirits a bit. Would you like to go together?" As if possessed, I nodded. Leaning on the railing and gazing into the distance, the myriad lights of homes connected with the starry river at the horizon, my heart suddenly felt spacious. "When I was little," he suddenly spoke, his voice gentle, "if I had any unhappiness, Father would bring me here to watch the stars. He said that human worries are nothing but dust to heaven and earth." As the night wind brushed past, he turned his head to look at me. "If you are willing, can you tell me about it? Perhaps the night was too gentle, or perhaps I had suppressed it for too long." I actually began telling him about my fear and confusion, helplessness and destitution after my parents died. The childhood betrothal token was something Father had pressed into my hands before he died. If I hadn't had this thought to hold on to, I am afraid I would have given up long ago. In my moment of despair, it just so happened that Qiyu reached out his hand to me. He led me out of the darkness, gave me a reason to live on, and falling in love with him seemed so natural. Wen Qiyu's expression was inscrutable as he listened quietly. I gazed into the distance, but later, things slowly changed. He gradually grew disgusted with my slow speech and timidity, denying everything about me after Molly appeared. It became even more chilling to the extreme. I had also tried to escape the Qi residence and give up, but because I remembered the vague promise from childhood, Qiyu, and the occasional tenderness Qiyu showed me later, I convinced myself again and again. He is just too busy. I am just not good enough. I desperately learned etiquette, managed affairs, embroidered and kept accounts, wanting to prove that I wasn't completely useless. But even so, as I spoke, tears were already streaming down my face without me realizing it. Snapping back to reality, I hurriedly wiped with the back of my hand, explaining, "I am sorry, I shouldn't have said those things. I didn't mean it like that. It is not that I still think about him." When Qiyu's eyes were deep and complex, he handed over a clean handkerchief and suddenly asked, "Then do you think the current Wen Qiyu is still the same as the one in your childhood memories?" He paused. His voice grew softer, scattered by the wind. "Do you still like him?" The evening breeze carried the aroma of street food. The conversation eventually fizzled out. The sugar cakes and wontons we often ate as children still tasted vaguely like they did back then. Wen Qiyu escorted me back to the Liu family residence, but didn't leave immediately. Instead, he asked me, "Little sister Shunning, may I borrow that jade pendant to take a look?" Thinking he had finally come around to taking it back, I hurriedly retrieved it from my sleeve and handed it to him. But he merely examined it carefully in the moonlight, his fingertips seeming to linger at a certain spot for a moment, then smiled and returned it to me. "Thank you," returning it to its rightful owner. I looked at him in confusion. Would he not recognize a token he himself had given? Why would he need to specifically confirm it? Shaking my head before I could enter the courtyard, a voice suppressing anger rang out from behind me. "So that is why you didn't come find me at the inn. Turns out you've latched onto another backer." Qiyu emerged from the shadows, staring at me with a dark expression, then glanced in the direction Wen Qiyu had left, his brows tightly knitted. "Juning, I advise you to stay away from that Lord Wen." His expression was arrogant, yet his words carried a hint of barely perceptible wariness. "He is not as simple as what you see. He is definitely not a good person." I looked at Qiyu in front of me and suddenly felt he had become incredibly unfamiliar. I used to just think he was proud and conceited, but now it seems he is also quite mean-spirited. He is very good. I tried my best to keep my voice steady, better than you. Chi-yu acted as if he'd heard the biggest joke in the world and sneered. Shu-ning, you've really grown some skills now. Learn to use others to irritate me. He looked me up and down, his gaze mocking, learning from Mo Lily to run away from home? Learning from her to make friends. Too bad you are just a poor imitation, neither fish nor fowl. I was so angry my face turned pale, pointing at the courtyard wall of Auntie Lou's house behind him. You climbing over walls, that is not what a gentleman does. Please, leave. Chi-yu's expression grew even worse. Stop making a fuss. Even though you took the jade pendant, I never said I wouldn't acknowledge the engagement. How would I mistreat you? The engagement. He still thinks I care about that. I suddenly stared at him. The letters I wrote to you, did you ever read them? A flash of impatience crossed Chi-yu's face. You always wrote such long-winded rambling stuff before. Where would I have the time to read them carefully? My friends who read them all made fun of me, and a lie would get angry seeing them too. His tone even carried a hint of, for my own good admonishment. From now on, you should just behave yourself and stay quiet like before. If you can't speak well, then speak less. With a roar, I felt all the blood rush to the top of my head. So all those careful attempts at communication, those struggles to reach out, to him, his friends, and his ally, they were nothing but a spectacle to laugh at. And I had actually hoped that if I learned to be as carefree and magnanimous as Mo Lai, he might give me a second glance. How ridiculous. How pathetic. Seeing my silence, Chi-yu softened his tone a bit. All right, now I know you are good. I won't force you to learn from Ali anymore. He stepped forward, his eyes containing a veiled warning. But you must leave Wen Chi-yu immediately. The things he is involved in are beyond what someone naive and innocent like you could imagine. Being with him, you'll probably be schemed against until you have no way out. The contempt and insult in his words were like a knife cutting into my heart. I bent down to pick up a pebble and hurled it at him with force. Get lost. Though the pebble didn't hit him, it successfully stopped him in his tracks. He looked at me in disbelief, his face livid, and finally left behind harsh words. Fine, Shu-ning, you are hopelessly stubborn. I'll be waiting to see you regret this day. Chi-yu's threats didn't make me fear Wen Chi-yu instead. They made me see more clearly the vast difference between these two men. One only knew how to belittle with words and make wild speculations. Zone has always respected and protected me through actions. Although Chi-yu's words did make me a bit curious about Wen Chi-yu's true identity. I believe that even if he really is as not simple as Chi-yu said, there must be a reason for it. Wen Chi-yu still invited me out as usual, being extremely considerate toward me. But I always felt uneasy. I was afraid my existence would drag him down. Even more afraid that he was forcing himself because of that so-called engagement and sense of responsibility. Didn't he already have another sweetheart in the painting that he couldn't forget? After hesitating for several days, I finally mustered up the courage to propose breaking off the engagement. Wen Chi-yu fell silent for a moment, but still didn't agree immediately. If you wish, I cannot refuse. But before that, could you please accompany me back to your old residence one more time? There are some things I want to settle there. Though puzzled, I agreed. Facing the ruins again, my heart still ached. Wen Chi-yu stood quietly with me for a long while, then led me to my parents' grave behind the mountain. He burned incense and paid respects with a reverent manner. Uncle Shu-aunt, his voice was low and clear, Chi-yu has fortunately fulfilled his mission and finally found little sister Shu. Your injustice has been cleared, and the enemy who harmed you has received due punishment. Please rest in peace. I was thunderstruck, looking at him in shock. Injustice, punishment? Weren't my parents killed by wandering desperados? I begged Chi-yu countless times to help me avenge my parents and bring all those people to justice. But he always brushed me off. Sure, let the past be past. As long as you are safe, that is all that matters. Your father and mother's spirits in heaven only wish for your peace and happiness. Don't drown in hatred. Later, I heard that gang of bandits was wiped out by the court for robbing official silver. I thought it was karma, that evil gets its due. So it turns out, it wasn't heaven's doing. It was this person before my eyes, the one I thought was uninvolved, who silently shouldered all of this for me. When Chiyu turned around, his eyes filled with pity and apology. I am sorry for only telling you now. This matter involves many parties, it wasn't appropriate to publicize it. Now that the dust has settled, you should know. He raised his hand and gently ruffled the top of my head. Ning, you've suffered. In that moment, years of accumulated grievances, despair, hatred, and confusion finally found an outlet. Tears came flooding out, not for Chiyu, but for my parents who died unjustly. For my family that was finally vindicated. I choked up, needing a long while to recover. So long that I remembered the object in my hand, and once again offered the jade pendant back to him. This time, with genuine gratitude. He didn't give up on me, didn't cast me aside as I had imagined, didn't look down on me. Wen Qiu took the warm jade pendant and carefully put it away. As for the marriage arrangement, I still respect your choice. But no matter what, I will always watch over you and see you safe and happy. He did as he said. I moved out from Auntie Liu's place and settled near the old residence. Though Auntie Liu was reluctant to see me go, she was happy for me and gave me quite a bit of money. Everything was as I had initially hoped. I set up a small stall and started selling embroidered sachets, handkerchiefs, and the like. Wen Qiu came to my stall every day claiming, Miss Shu's embroidery is too popular, some people might get jealous and cause trouble, so naturally I must come and stand guard. Watching him act so serious about it, I couldn't help but giggle. The girls who came to my stall were clearly mostly there to see his handsome face. He was basically a living signboard attracting bees and butterflies. Did he really have no self-awareness at all? Lord Wen, I couldn't help asking him one day after closing up, how much longer are you going to guard me? He raised an eyebrow and smiled, the setting sun gilding him with a golden edge. At least until certain people who can't take a hint completely give up. Until you are truly settled down, I suppose. On this day, Wen Qiyu had business and went out. I really couldn't figure out why they would come all the way from Qingzhou to Wuzhou, and just happened to run into my tiny embroidery stall in this small city of Su. Oh, isn't this little sister Shu? Molly's tone was exaggerated, with undisguised contempt. How have you fallen so low setting up a street stall? She casually picked up a sachet, then threw it down in disgust. The stitching's passable. Whatever, I'll take all of these. I frowned. You won't need that many, Molly sneered. This young lady feels like it. When Chiyu and I have our wedding later, I'll use them as extras for the return gifts to the guests. That'll be nice. Speaking of which, they're embroidered by the Qi household's former mistress herself. I am sure everyone will praise you for your exquisite handiwork. She deliberately emphasized those words heavily. My expression darkened. Please watch your words. I never agreed to be with him. Oh? Molly covered her mouth, laughing so hard she trembled. Does little sister still want to be an equal wife? Don't you know your own worth? An orphan girl living under someone else's roof, who can't even speak properly. You think you are worthy? She raised her voice, attracting onlookers. Every own judge for yourselves. Relying on some childhood betrothal from who knows where, she has been pestering my fiancé for years. Now that she has been thrown out, she still foolishly dreams of climbing up to become the legitimate wife. How ridiculous. I never once thought about becoming Chiyu's equal wife, especially after learning the truth. Her twisting of the facts made me tremble with anger. I just wanted her to shut up. But she seemed to have anticipated it. Before my raised hand could swing down, she cried out and fell to the ground. Her wrist just happened to hit the corner of the stall, immediately scraping off a patch of skin and drawing blood. Shuning, what are you doing? Chiyu rushed forward, checking her wrist, his face instantly turning ashen. When he raised his eyes, they were ice-cold and disgusted. But when his gaze touched my stubborn reddened eyes, his expression froze for a moment. Still, he said coldly and harshly, Look at your current state, abandoned by others. I suppose you've learned your lesson. As long as you obediently go back and properly arrange my wedding with a lie before the end of next month, this position of equal wife, it is not impossible to give it to you. He scooped up the wronged yet smug Molly in his arms and strode away. I felt both angry and amused, my chest stuffed with what felt like a clump of wet cotton, suffocatingly painful. Years of humble devotion and walking on eggshells had earned me such matter-of-fact, trampling and merciless favoritism. He clearly saw it, yet still blindly protected her without distinguishing right from wrong, accusing me. He clearly could have investigated a little, and would have known that I wasn't helpless and alone in Sioux City. The neighbors all treated me extremely well, but he always said the outside world was dangerous, and people's hearts unpredictable, saying I was clumsy with words and soft-hearted, easily bullied by others, and kept me confined to the back courtyard of the Chi residence. So I listened to him, not daring to go out or meet strangers. But gradually, he started to despise me for not being as lively and cheerful as Mo Lee, for being narrow-minded. Then may I ask, how is a person whose wings have been broken supposed to become cheerful and broaden their horizons? Actually, not loving is just not loving. No matter what I do, it is wrong. The surrounding stall owners and familiar customers acted as if nothing had happened, still smiling and greeting me, comforting me. Miss Shu, don't stoop to the level of that unreasonable troublemaker. Exactly, look at how arrogant she is. She'll get what is coming to her sooner or later. Their kindness warmed my heart. Evening when Chiyu came back. He didn't mention what happened during the day either, as if he never knew about it. It is just that, after that, he went out noticeably more often, but no matter how late it was, every day on my windowsill, a package of warm lotus pastries would appear right on time. Those were the pastries my mother loved to buy for me when she was alive. I don't know how he found out about it. On nights with thunder and rain, he would also keep watch outside my courtyard. I invited him in to take shelter from the rain, but he always said it wouldn't be proper. He would only play his flute outside the window, using the melodious flute sound to dispel my fear and accompany me to sleep. This night, the rain was extremely heavy. Thunder rumbled and the flute sound outside the window had stopped for quite a while. I was startled awake by a thunderclap, my heart still pounding, when I suddenly grew worried about the person outside. Would he get drenched? Would he be cold? What if he caught a chill, tossing and turning, unable to sleep? After much hesitation, I finally got up. I had to let him in to take shelter from the rain. The door bolt slid open with a creak. Under the door eaves, there indeed stood a figure. Dark brocade robes, not the usual green shirt from daily wear. The silhouette was so familiar it made my heart tighten. It was Chiyu. I was so shocked I stepped back, instinctively wanting to close the door. I had no idea why he would appear here at this moment. Wasn't he supposed to be busy preparing for his grand wedding ceremony with Mo Lai? Or was he so greedy that he wanted both the radiant white moonlight and couldn't bear to part with me, this obedient and sensible clinging vine? Not afraid that Mo Lai would be angry? Perhaps Chiyu didn't love Mo Li as much as I had imagined. He just preferred what he couldn't have. He wanted it all. Chiyu heard the door opening and turned around. Rain had soaked his hair and clothes, making him look rather disheveled. Seeing me, a flash of complexity crossed his eyes. He opened his mouth, his voice somewhat hoarse. "Shuer, I regret it," he said hoarsely. "I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. Come back with me, will you? Mo Li, she is pregnant, so I had no choice but to rush to give her status. The day I left home, I knew you were afraid of thunderstorms. I shouldn't have left you alone. It was my fault." His tone even carried a trace of pleading. "Come back, and I'll marry you as my legal wife first. Let Mo Li, let her take a step back and become an equal wife, all right?" I almost laughed out loud. It wasn't because Mo Li was pregnant that he abandoned me in the rain. No, he is here pretending to be so devoted and righteous. Furthermore, if Mo Li knew you wanted to marry me as the legitimate wife, would she agree? I looked straight at him, enunciating each word clearly. You should know in your heart, if she could tolerate me, why would she have made that scene? Just then thunder cracked, illuminating Chiyu's stunned expression. I closed the door and bolted it. I didn't want to see him anymore. Chiyu seemed to have snapped back to his senses and knocked on the door. "I'll go back and talk to her properly. Sure, trust me," I sneered from behind the door. "If you had said this half a year ago, I might have believed you, might have been happy. But now, never again." I couldn't see Chiyu's expression, only heard the door being kicked hard. "Shu Ning, do you really want to spend your whole life selling embroidery in this small place? You'd rather do this than become my legitimate wife, Chiyu's legitimate wife? You want to be a faithless and disloyal person? Faith, loyalty? Between him and me, When had there ever been true faith and loyalty? I didn't want to get entangled, and declared firmly, "Yes, I want to be faithless and disloyal." Outside the door, Chiyu seemed to be completely enraged, slamming his fist hard against the door. "Okay, okay. Since you are so heartless, then let's cut all ties. You better not regret this." The next day, the rain had stopped and the sky cleared. I pushed open the door to my room, only to see Wen Chiyu already standing in the courtyard, looking down at the ground. "It seems a thief tried to visit last night." He pointed at a long, dragging mark on the muddy ground, and a bit of dark brown on a stone nearby. "Looks like they tried to steal the sachet you made." Fortunately, the rain made the ground slippery, and the thief fell pretty hard. I looked at the marks. It really did look like someone had taken a heavy fall, but I hadn't heard any screams last night. "This sachet." Wen Qiyu held up a sachet wrapped in mud. The embroidery pattern was vaguely recognizable as one I'd made. "I am afraid it can't be used anymore." I felt puzzled, but just assumed it was an ordinary petty thief. So I said, "Since it is dirty, just throw it away." Wen Qiyu obligingly discarded the sachet, then smiled and said, "The weather is wonderful today. How about we close the stall for a day? I'll take you to listen to some music, and by the way, watch a good show." A private room in the tea house, sitting by the window with an excellent view. Not long after we sat down, there was suddenly a commotion on the street below. A group of officers escorting a woman in a kang passed by. The woman's hair was disheveled, and her clothes were in disarray, yet one could still make out. It was Mo Li. She struggled and cursed with all her might. The surrounding common folk murmured among themselves. "I heard she is a female con artist who targets rich young masters. Seems like she is also involved in an old case. The official said something about her being a wanted criminal. She looks decent enough, but how can her heart be so rotten?" I looked at Wen Qiyu in shock. He calmly took a sip of tea and said indifferently, "Those who commit many injustices will surely bring destruction upon themselves. She was already guilty to begin with. Now she is just getting what she deserves." I understood instantly. So his frequent outings recently were for this matter. On the street, Chiyu limped out frantically from the crowd, trying to stop the officials, but was easily pushed aside. He could only watch helplessly as Mo Li was taken away, his face full of disbelief and panic. Chiyu looked up and happened to see me by the window. As if grasping at a lifeline, fury instantly exploded in his eyes as he rushed upstairs and barged in. "Juning, was it you?" He pointed at me, his eyes nearly bursting with rage. "Did you have Wen Qiyu pull these tricks? Can you really not tolerate a lie that much? Just to force me to make you the legal wife?" His tone was urgent and chaotic. I agree to make you the legal wife. Stop getting entangled with him, you hear me?" As he spoke, he reached out his hand toward me again, then turned to Wen Qiyu with venomous eyes. "Shuning, come here. I know you are being coerced by him too. Don't be afraid. Come back with me. I'll find a way to take you away from him." I looked at his self-righteous appearance and found it utterly absurd. I stood up and walked to Wen Qiyu's side. I took the initiative to hold his hand. Wen Qiyu's hand was warm and dry, gently holding mine back. I looked at Chiyu. The corners of my lips couldn't help curling into a cold sneer. Mo Li got what she deserved. Wen Qiyu is great, 10,000 times, a million times better than you. No one cares about your position as the legitimate wife, including Mo Li. She has been lying to you all along." Chiyu acted as if he didn't understand, still stubbornly persisting. Fine, forget about Ali. You come back with me first, we'll talk when we get back." At this moment, I suddenly felt the person before me was both pitiful and pathetic. "Go back." I raised our clasped hands. "My fiancé is right here. Where would I go back to?" Chiyu froze in place, as if truly realizing for the first time the relationship between Wen Qiyu and me. His face turned deathly pale, and he limped forward trying to forcibly pull us apart. "What nonsense are you talking about? I am your fiancé." I frowned and looked down. Wasn't he fine last night? And Wen Qiyu, who had been sitting quietly without speaking, finally moved. His other hand lifted, revealing the phoenix jade pendant in his palm. Sunlight streamed through the window lattice, falling on the jade pendant. The details of the phoenix's feathers and certain subtle engravings were clearly visible under the light. Chiyu? When Chiyu's voice was cold as ice. How long are you going to keep deceiving yourself? Chiyu's gaze, fixed on the jade pendant, his pupils suddenly contracting. This jade pendant, his lips trembled. My Chi family also once had a similar phoenix jade, it seems. This is indeed true, Phoenix. When Chiyu let out a scornful laugh, his fingertip tracing over the unique tail feather patterns on the jade pendant. Young Master Chi is so knowledgeable. Why don't you take a closer look? Is this really a phoenix, or is it a vermilion bird? He tilted the jade pendant slightly, letting the sunlight shine through the jade more fully. More importantly, on this inner wall, there should be mine and her names. Back then I carved them myself, stroke by stroke. I leaned in closer to look, and sure enough, there were extremely subtle polishing marks on the inner wall. The original inscriptions had been mostly ground away, and were difficult to make out. At first glance, it looked like damage from years of wearing. But the key point was, after I received this jade pendant from father, Chiyu took it away on the grounds of fearing I'd lose it, and never returned it. Not until a few days ago, when I asked him for it back. Impossible. Chiyu's face turned deathly pale, staggering back a step. When I first saw this jade, it was already like this. His gaze turned toward me, his expression carrying a last thread of struggle. Sure, even if the jade pendant is wrong, the bond we've shared these past years isn't fake. Besides, your feelings for me, Bond. Wen Chiyu interrupted sharply, a hint of malice leaking into his eyes. You deliberately trapped her, humiliated her, trampled her sincere heart into the ground. This is your bond. Do you know she once escaped from the Chi residence? And you, Chiyu, Wen Chiyu's words struck like daggers to the heart. You actually sent people disguised as thugs and scoundrels to intercept and frighten her on her way home, forcing her to obediently return to your side out of fear. With such conduct, how are you any different from those gutter trash rogues? My whole body shook, looking at Chiyu in disbelief. So he knew all along. Knew this jade pendant was wrong. Knew he wasn't the person I was looking for. And that time when I mustered the courage to escape from the Chi residence, only to be harassed by a group of hoodlums on the road, trembling in fear, he happened to appear like a hero and saved me. I actually regretted it then, and believed him. Believed the show he directed and starred in himself. So satisfying. Faye stood up and applauded directly when she saw this part. The truth is finally out. Chiyu not only fraudulently claimed the childhood betrothal, constantly suppressed the female lead, but also staged a hero, saving the beauty act to scare her and cut off her connections to the outside world. This kind of controlling and obsessive behavior is simply outrageous. Fortunately, our Lord Wen saw through everything long ago. When he doesn't make a move, he stays put. But when he does, it is like Thor's hammer, directly hammering the scumbag down, so he'll never rise again. Facts prove that you should never seek validation from someone who doesn't love you and only knows how to scheme against you. The next one will definitely be better. Under my gaze, Chiyu's face turned deathly pale, his lips moving but unable to utter a single word. What a pity, when Chiyu's tone was ice cold. The people you hired were incompetent and were scattered midway by the real villains who were targeting her. And those villains? He paused, looked at me, his eyes carrying a trace of lingering fear and relief. Have already been handed over to the authorities by me, but because of that, I missed the opportunity to reunite with her. Chiyu slumped down in his chair in defeat, muttering, I didn't know. I did want to treat her well later on. I just. He suddenly raised his head, tears actually rolling down from his eyes. Sure, you have to believe me. I regret it. After all these years of our bond, think about what we used to have. Those days of being so cautious, reading people's expressions, deceiving myself and others. I closed my eyes, unwilling to look at him for even a moment longer. When Chiyu took me away from that suffocating tea house, he told me to rest well for a few days. It just so happened that Mother Wen sent someone with a letter, saying Father Wen had returned, urging him to bring me back for a visit. I had no choice but to collect myself and return with him. The Wen residence was harmonious and peaceful. Mother Wen held my hand, so delighted she wouldn't let go. Father Wen looked me up and down for a while, then took out a scroll painting and slowly unrolled it before me. The painting showed the side profile of a young girl standing under a pear blossom tree, head lowered as she smelled the flowers. Her features gentle, so lifelike. It was me. This was painted by Kiyu 2 years ago, Father Wen said with a smile. This boy, ever since he got separated from you, it has been weighing on his mind. When he came back that time, he painted from memory over and over, saying he was afraid he wouldn't recognize you when he saw you again. Who would have thought the real person is even more beautiful than the painting? My cheeks flushed red, my heart pounding like a drum. So the sweetheart in the painting his friend mentioned was really me. I secretly glanced at Wen Qiyu beside me. His ears were slightly red, yet his eyes burned as he gazed at me, openly admitting, "Yes, the one my heart desires, from beginning to end, has always been you." That huge stone in my heart finally settled down peacefully. A warm current slowly flowed through my entire body, although the past wounds still remain, making me afraid to immediately throw myself fully into another engagement. I am willing to try to start over. After all, in the time I wasn't aware, someone had actually been so carefully missing me, treasuring me. I shouldn't trap myself in the past, and the Wen family parents didn't look down on me because of the engagement's ups and downs either, treating me just as warmly as before. I used the silver I'd saved up during this time to open a small embroidery workshop, actively recruiting female workers from poor families as apprentices. Wen Qiyu often comes to help me. He is full of ideas and has wide connections, so my business has become more and more prosperous. During this time, Qiyu sent people multiple times to deliver priceless, precious gifts, attempting to apologize and curry favor. I didn't even glance at them, directly ordering people to throw them all out the front gate. One evening, looking at Wen Qiyu helping me check the accounts in the embroidery workshop with a serious expression, I brought up the old topic again. "Master Wen, my business is already very stable, and I can take care of myself. How much longer are you going to keep watching over me?" He looked up, his eyes crinkling as he revealed a rare hint of slyness and grievance. "I am afraid I'll have to keep watching for a long time. Mother said if I can't bring my wife back home, I don't need to come back either." My engagement banquet with Wen Qiyu was simple yet warm. The Wen family parents are open-minded and cheerful, treating me extremely well. I heard that Qiyu also came secretly, hiding in the distant crowd, his figure desolate. Later news came that Qiyu had actually bribed the jailer to see Mole. For some unknown reason, the two had a fierce argument, and Chiyu's face was scratched badly by the seemingly crazed Mole, leaving him seriously injured. When Qiyu told me that after Mole lost her family in her early years, she took the wrong path, swindling and deceiving people, and even conned a marquis with considerable power, leading to a major manhunt by the authorities. Qiyu was deeply entangled with her, and the family business also plummeted and lost all reputation due to manipulation by certain people. Fortunately, I managed to get Xiao Chan out of the Qi residence in time. She is now helping out at my embroidery shop, often saying, "Sister Shu, Master Wen is truly wonderful, 1,000,000 times better than that Qiyu. Only a noble gentleman like Master Wen, who is bright and upright with eyes only for you, truly deserves our sister Shu." That time when I left the residence and was brought back by Qiyu, I brought back another person. It was Xiao Chan. The embroidery shop's business grew bigger and bigger, even opening branch locations. When Qiyu and I lived our days plainly yet happily, he finally no longer had to guard my embroidery shop, because he became the shop's other owner, and also my rightful husband. Qiyu's extra story actually, I did genuinely like Shu Ning. I liked how she quietly followed behind me, her gaze timid yet clear. She looked up at me, depended on me, and when she heard I might be her fiancé, her eyes were even more full of adoration and longing. So I told her, "Yeah, seems like that is the case. She really came back to the manor with me. She is beautiful and clever, truly lovable." I enjoyed her cautious attempts to please me. The only problem was, she seemed to have been frightened before, clearly not lacking courage, yet she could never speak clearly. This troubled me greatly, especially every time Mole came back. That feeling of being immediately outshone was unbearable. Once, she actually ran away. I panicked and felt furious. How dare she? So I had people scare her, wanting her to know how terrifying the outside world is, to make her understand she can't survive without me. But when I saw her trembling, clutching a stick with both hands, still trying to save another girl surrounded by thugs, despite her own fear, I thought of another person. They were two alike, making me want to hold her in the palm of my hand even more. However, after saving the damsel in distress, her daily clinginess and excessive dependence gradually made me feel annoyed. I kept thinking, why can't she be more like Molly? She is like a flame, passionate and bright. Under her effortless teasing, I'd crumble completely, wanting to firmly grasp her in my hands too. Keeping a caged bird, then complaining the bird can't fly. I deliberately gave Shuning the cold shoulder and belittled her, knowing she wouldn't leave me. I used this to prove my devotion to Mole, and enjoyed the vanity of navigating smoothly between two women, until I lost it all completely, when I saw Shuning radiate a brilliance I'd never seen before beside someone else. That belated regret gnawed at my heart like poisonous ants day and night. I regretted it deeply, so I went to see Molly in prison. I wanted to ask if she had ever truly loved me. At least, I couldn't fail, losing one sincere heart, then losing another. But Molly only laughed maniacally, cursed me for being stupid, and laughed at herself for being nothing more than a scheme and calculation, yet nearly falling into it for real. She said, "Do you still remember that little girl who stood up for you as a child, drove away the beggar kids who mocked you, and gave you a piece of bread? That seemed to be Shuning. What a pity. You thought so highly of yourself that you only had eyes for a snake-hearted person like me." She said she was one of those wandering beggar kids back then. She said she too had once received a piece of bread from that little girl. But she wasn't satisfied that the person who gave had so many good things, yet why give her only one piece of bread? She said so much, got so worked up that her hands and feet flailed about, scratching my face. And only then did I understand. Turns out I had already possessed what I most wanted. Molly's radiance and Shuning's timidity were intertwined and indistinguishable. Yet I had personally trampled on and discarded them both. The Chi family fell into ruin, debts piled high. As if there had been omens all along. I loved Shuning, and I hated Molly to the core. It was the lies she brought that took everything away from me. So when I was cornered by creditors with nowhere to turn, facing that sudden raging inferno, I didn't run. Instead, I grabbed hold of Molly, who was equally trapped in despair. In the flames and ashes that filled the sky, we both met our well-deserved tragic end, completely finishing this absurd, calculating, and pathetic life. When Chiyu's side story. I've never forgotten that kind girl who, under the pear blossom tree with petals fluttering down, would carefully share the sweet pastries in her hands with stray cats and hungry little beggars. Just like that first meeting in childhood. Even though she herself was trembling with fear, she still bravely held a tree branch and stood in front of me when I was surrounded by wild dogs at that moment. I decided I would protect this kind and brave little girl for the rest of my life. So I asked her if she'd be willing to marry me, and I would protect her for life. She blinked her big eyes, her delicate little face blooming with a smile. "Sure, I'll marry you when I grow up." He actually agreed. When our childhood betrothal was arranged, I was overjoyed. Unfortunately, my father and I were assigned to work away for a long time and couldn't return. The only time I saw her was from the shadows, and I was really afraid she'd forget me. I thought to myself, when I return this time, I must let her see me and remember what I look like. But the Shu family got implicated and caught up in trouble, catching both father and me off guard. Despite rushing as fast as we could, we were still a step too late. I searched for her like a madman for a long time, until even mother broke down in tears and blamed herself. She said she couldn't help, and let Shuning wander alone outside, telling me I must find him. Of course I had to find him, so the three of us searched many places. But there was never any news, no trace of this person. That time I happened to be on a mission pursuing a gang of bandits. When passing by outside the city, I actually saw a woman whose back looked incredibly like her, being harassed by a group of thugs, and the bandits we were apprehending were mixed in among them too. I gritted my teeth, could only secretly finish things quickly first, couldn't scare her. Who knew that by the time I dealt with it and turned back, she had disappeared again. I regretted countless times why I didn't go confirm first. If it really was her, I wanted to slap myself hard twice. Missing her again, I searched through all the nearby towns, big and small, and finally felt almost desperate. I was so afraid that would be the last time we'd ever see each other. Even my mother angrily scolded, "You can lose your wife twice. You might as well not come back." Perhaps heaven took pity, and she came back. Perhaps heaven took pity. By chance once, I actually ran into Aunt Liu, Mother Shuning's close friend. I had met her once before. I politely approached her, trying to indirectly probe for information about Shuning's whereabouts. She was very perceptive and immediately became suspicious of my identity. I came clean, and fortunately I did. She said she knew where Shuning was, and also said that Shuning had a strong mind of her own. If it weren't for the handkerchiefs she embroidered circulating among the ladies, she wouldn't have been able to follow the trail and find her. She said she felt Shunning's life wasn't going well, that the young master of the Chi family was definitely not a good man. I observed secretly, watching that woman living so cautiously in the Chi residence. I couldn't help but feel heartbroken for her, wanting to hold her in my arms and comfort her properly. The one I treasured like a precious pearl was being treated so cheaply and neglected by others. I couldn't stand it, so I acted on it. To be honest, after using those underhanded methods, I was afraid she would blame me, but watching her go from being frightened and anxious to gradually relaxing her brow, and now confidently and calmly managing her own business, just like when she was young, kind and resilient, I don't feel any regret. If I had to do it again, I would still do the same. Actually, I only sent Molly back and gave things a little push. I didn't do anything that goes against heaven's law, right? Except on that rainy night when I taught a certain someone a small lesson. And then went with the flow once more. I didn't do anything else. Oh, I also played a little hard to get in front of my father-in-law and mother-in-law's graves. But I didn't force anything either. Anyway, she has already become my wife. I didn't miss her, and I will never let her go in this lifetime. I kissed her forehead and asked her, "My lady, who do you love most now?" She turned over, seemingly annoyed by the question, muttering softly, love you the most." Who am I, Wen-Chiyu? I love Wen-Chiyu the most. I pulled her back into my arms again. I also love this person in my embrace the most. The story comes to a perfect end here. I am Faye. After reading Lord Wen's extra chapter, I am literally twisting like a pretzel in bed. This is way too sweet. Turns out our Shunning was never on a one-way journey, but was cherished in someone's heart since childhood. Lord Wen, this kind of scheming but purely skilled at doting on his wife, top-tier green flag, pure love war god, who wouldn't love him? What is wrong with using a little playing hard to get tactic to protect his wife? Well done, okay. As for that scumbag Chi-Yu, ending up losing both his woman and his fortune, being consumed by flames, it is purely his own doing, sisters. This story really teaches us a hardcore truth. Decisively stay away from people who constantly drain you. The right destiny is definitely waiting for you ahead. Today's story ends here. Did you all enjoy it? Remember to like and comment for Faye. See you next time with another good story. Bye-bye.